Well, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord for bright, sunshiny days. We don't have a lot of in the winter sometimes. In Colorado, it's one of the sunniest places in the country. This video is about work. It's about work and the inability to go back to work. I just talked to a friend who I don't think is aware of the condition, the situation, why I'm unable to go back to work. It's all about that Social Security card. I knew in San Francisco when it got robbed of me, my 10th one, my 10th replacement. Why did I go to San Francisco? Do you might remember? I couldn't make any more good happen here in Denver. And you need to understand about homelessness, that means you do not have a home. It means you go to work, you carry everything that you have that belongs to you to work, and you do not know where you're going when you get off work. The person I was staying with when I was working at 7-Eleven changed his mind when I was clocking out and said, "You can't stay here. I'm going to have a sleepover. Not with the married man I'm sleeping with whose partner's dying with cancer, but with somebody new. I just decided because I can." That was the condition on which I went to California, because I had to. When you do not have your 10th Social Security card, after that one gets lost or robbed, I got robbed, it is harder for you to get a Social Security card. That means anything that I have ever needed since May, I have had to do without. I think I said in yesterday's video, one of them, have you ever had to go 3 months without using a free TV because you cannot put batteries in the free TV? Okay, that's what that means. It means whatever it is that you need, you just do not have it. You do not have an ability to earn the money to go get it. Ever. Okay? That's how debilitating this is. It's what my family does not care about. My mother, I know, knows that I do not have the ability to work, and she does not care. I talked to her around Thanksgiving, and she said, "Happy Thanksgiving." And I was like, well, I need help with some ideas on how to come up with a spare key. And she hung up. And we talked about needing to get a Social Security card. And she was just like, "Yeah, I figured." And she just hung up. That's how cold and how heartless my family really is. Remember, my dad, knowledge his father, Tom Acosta, is sleeping with a 7-year-old boy. Okay? After that experience, when I found that out and left him, I was then kidnapped. Did Tom Acosta have me kidnapped? We don't know. People need to understand that's really how hard and how bad it really has been this whole entire time. I'm going to link some other videos about employment in this description of this video to show and highlight. Remember, I was promoted out here in 366 days. Then I worked 16 more jobs, and then I returned to work while homeless and staying in over 300 different places. I really did. Okay? You probably just can't imagine. And you probably have always had and always will have somebody there to make sure you're not in that situation, because you're not at a 38% likelihood for being homeless because your parents divorced themselves. My mom divorced herself again. And then a 22% likelihood on top of that for something you can't control, being LGBT. But my friend here in Denver was like, "I just didn't know why you didn't go back to work." I said, "Because I can't." And he was like, "Oh my gosh. That means anything you've needed, you haven't had to go without it." He was alarmed. He was so sad. He just now realized, no, Nathan would go back to work if he had the ability to. It's just the Social Security card. It's one of the reasons I'm so mad at King Soopers and Kroger down here. They have it on file. They will not call another store and just hire me. They just won't do it. I've also went back to the temp agencies I worked for before. They don't keep it on file anymore. The 7-Eleven store I used to work at, it's a Montford-owned franchise. Montford's kind of shut down. They're now owned by Arabs. So wherever my social security card was, like, that's also a reason Nathan has had to go without anything. I've got this $6,000 a month home, but I don't have the ability to buy batteries for remote control. I don't have the ability to go to Taco Bell for like a $2 meal. It just doesn't happen. It's not happened since May. Okay? Don't know why people don't realize that. It is so frustrating. It is frustrating to be 37 years old and then in the prime of your life. These are the years I'm supposed to be making more money than I will ever make. And I am at zero. That's how bad it is. An organization is more confident they can get me on disability than they can my ability to go back to work without a 11th Social Security card replacement. It is likely I may never return to the U.S. workforce. And you think about that. You think about the cost of homelessness. You know, during those years I was 16 times more likely to die and did not have a place on this God's green earth. There were still costs, definitely, for the homeless shelter. They get about $30 million a year spread over everybody who uses the services. There was also the SNAP card. And I was contributing. I was actually paying taxes when I was working at 7-Eleven and at some other places I worked at too. I went back to work multiple times while staying at over 300 different places while homeless. People just do not know. You really, really have to understand this. Put on a backpack, leave your home. For me, it was go to the other side of the country where I thought I would be seeing an old friend that I hadn't seen in a long time. Get ghosted on at the Atlanta Greyhound station. GE. Building a world that works. I think this part is very key and very important for people to understand. Just how frightening it really is when you become homeless. I never left my apartment and was like, well, I'm just going to be homeless now. I never did that. Okay. I was trying to relocate to High Point, North Carolina, where I did know someone, was friends with them very closely for 6 years in times before. And I was at the Atlanta Greyhound station, which means I was ghosted on, which means I did not hear from that person after the Chattanooga Greyhound stop. And that means you are in the Atlanta Greyhound station and you were in there with all the strangers. And the Atlanta Greyhound station is not a country club. It's not a food court at a mall. It is hell on earth. Okay? And you were there and you were like, I have to survive and I'm not in Denver anymore. And my plan, so what my plan was when I left Denver, that's no longer the plan anymore because I can't hear from this person. Okay? That's exactly day one of being homeless. That's how fucking scary it is. Okay? And guess who was the person that said, you need to get out of there. I'm going to help you. It was a U.S. veteran of the Vietnam War. Okay, and Tom Acosta assured it's still over $20,000 from the town of Reno, West Virginia, for a project that's supposed to exist and doesn't yet. One to honor U.S. veterans of the Vietnam War. That's who the fucking boomer, titanium, Tomo, disaster, costing West Virginia everything. That's who Tom Acosta is. Okay? He's the one who stole from the people who helped. My friend Harold in North Carolina will be forever beautiful. He just will be. Just book a trip to Atlanta. Put on a backpack. And do not talk to anybody that can help you. Because in my case, almost nobody did. And then survive without ever going home for 725 days. If your Social Security card gets robbed when you get kidnapped, replace it after you walk back to the state of West Virginia with no jacket and no wallet and no phone. When you call your brother, he's going to hang up. He's not going to care if you're alive or not. He's never been in that situation. Our mother did make us homeless in 2004, and he had me as his older brother, taking him to school and taking him right back to see his dad. Drew Acosta was never really homeless the way I had been, and he was only homeless for 4 or 5 days. Drew Acosta is a shame. He is a burden to America. He is someone that we need to care, pray, and hope for the best for. Maybe you can do it. Because I can't. I am the only brother he will ever have, and he did not care. And never has. You know, if he was to have a child, or if he already has had a child, that child, if he's had one, is growing up without knowing it's Uncle Nate. So me and my friend are talking about maybe there might be a pathway I can go back to work. He wants to help. He wants to see Nate get back on his feet. And that whole phrase, get back on his feet. I never got off my feet. That's how I'm alive. You don't cross this nation 6 times, have never been arrested in your entire lifetime, and end up in a $6,000 a month home by needing to get back on your feet. I am more on my feet than most people will ever be in their entire lifetime. It is so frustrating for the people who do understand this situation, and then they're like, you can't do anymore, can you? Like, you just can't. And so, like, one of my friends on Social Security, if I really, really need something, she will help out. And then it makes me so mad at my brother, who barely graduated from a less prestigious university, then came out to Denver from North Carolina on vacation, and now unloads trucks with his college degree and does not help. Drew Acosta does not care about the fact when he doesn't help, it means somebody else might. Somebody else in a less fortunate position. He doesn't give a shit about that, which is why I can't care and pray and hope for the best for him. I can care and pray and hope for the best for the people who understand the situation, and for the people who are just like, I've got to help you. I've got to make sure that you have something warm to wear, or that you have something that you absolutely need. My father's 6,000 square foot Colburn's mansion, the costs on it are about a third of the costs of keeping me house warm, safe, and dry today. It's already happened. Does my father still have his home? Has it changed hands? Who owns it? These are questions we don't know the answers to. I remember calling a realtor last year about, I was a prospective buyer, wanted to know more about my dad's house. And they were like, have you ever been to the property? How do you plan to pay for it? And it was just the weirdest conversation. Because, yeah, I've been to the property. It's supposed to be my house. This world, with its boomers, and its exacerbated homelessness problem, and all those things. Let's go back to talking about how I may never be in the workforce again. And over those 2 years I was homeless, the country pretty much got by with like just a missing Nate. Now it's paying $6,000 a month and will never stop. When I get on disability, it'll be higher than that. We're going to pay over $72,000 a year next year just for me to have housing. If I live to be 85 years old, it's going to be over $3.5 million this country's going to pay in rent. That's the cost. And I'm not going to be contributing. I'm not going to be paying taxes. I may never do that again. And remember, I came out here because I was promoted to get out of West Virginia. And I got out of West Virginia altogether 5 different times. I graduated from my university with a $166,000 education. I went #1 in the country for something professionally. That same university was a board member there that actually laid me off. She was homophobic. Dr. Carol Smith. You think about what Nathan has actually been through and how you have to actually understand When I say homeless, it means there's ice and snow on the ground and you do not know where you're going when you get off work, and you've carried everything there and you've already stayed at 297 places. I can't wait to get more of the forensic kind of data done, like my Lime scooters and where I was every day. I can't wait to do the forensic accounting on like how much money did Nathan have on the day he became homeless, and how much money did he have every single day, and where did it go? How did he spend it? I think I said in the America the Beautiful, It's All For You video, that I'm in the bathtub in that one. It's like, imagine having $20 and you not having $20 again for over 14 days. You really ought to understand, when I say you can't work, it means there is no income. Ever. I would say since October 1st of this year, it is what, second week in December, I'd say I've had less than $75 the entire time. When I got back from California, and remember, I got back from California and unexpected video, you see me, I'm getting in a Cadillac Escalade. Because the homeless shelter there, which ran out of food, probably due to Jen, the boomer there, who couldn't care about Tom Acosta being a child molester, and apparently, I think was the one that's supposed to order food and just couldn't even do that, because the boomers are challenged with doing their jobs. They just are. They're challenged with caring. But somebody there got me a Cadillac Escalade to get to the airport. When I got back to Colorado, the people whose job it is, to care about homeless people, forgot where in the country I was. They just completely forgot. So, main part of this video is just understanding. Yeah, Nathan knows. Nathan has to live it every single day. Nathan is aware of what he has, what he doesn't have. And Nathan is in a very unique position. Am I related to the Vice President-elect? I'm basically like one heartbeat away. I don't know. Going to be from being related to the President of the United States of America. I'm going from one end of society, our disregarded, disrespected, uncared for, unloved homeless people, to being quite possibly a new face of the Trump administration, or the Vance administration, if it comes to be. I mean, we need to understand exactly who I am, what I'm fighting for, all that's right for all my family. The fact that I did correspond with J.D. Vance in 2022. Back then, it was just, hey, I like your book, Hillbilly Elegy, I like the movie. He responded, it was a short conversation, but yeah, I've talked to him. Hey, I've met President Jimmy Carter. Nathan knows how Mariah Carey felt. It's just the best way to explain it. It is so frustrating, and how everybody that I know pretty much has no ability to understand or relate. And, like they were playing Christmas carols up here earlier. Those kinds of things, it's just, I can't meet somebody new who is never homeless and never had to endure all of the things I have. Someone who has a life of opulence, and here in this neighborhood, it's like everybody. But where else would you want to live? You've got to think about all those things. And how Nate's going from literally almost dead on the streets of San Francisco or West Virginia or Atlanta Denver. I was robbed in Ohio. To being like close to Jacqueline Kennedy and Asses, right? It's like almost being from one end to the other. My friend is going to try to help me get a job. I don't know how that's going to work because at the end of the day, I still don't have a Social Security card. So many challenges there, but he is at least absolutely caring, praying, and hope for the best. A very, very important lesson for us all this holiday season.